Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Schul, the esoteric noetic, and I want to delve into a beautiful interview that Jimmy Kimmel, I think it's Jimmy Kimmel, right? Yeah, he did with Obama, speaking about whether or not Obama had any knowledge about UFOs, Area 51. And this is so, I love this interview because you can tell when a president is joking around and when they're being serious. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, look, they lie just like we do. In fact, they tend to lie a lot more. But there was a moment of truth in this interview where you really get an insight into the fact that, of course, these presidents fully understand what's going on, but they're not at liberty to discuss what's going on in regards to the UFO agenda. And there are so many reports of this. I mean, before I even get into this video, I recently heard a story about JFK, a guy that had an encounter with him. And JFK was a very approachable president. He was probably the last, I would call, people's president that we've had in the United States. And I'm not saying that he's perfect. I mean, I don't think anyone's perfect. But I definitely liked JFK. I think he was someone that definitely wanted to expose what was going on. I mean, I love his speech that secrecy is repugnant to a free society. And I think one of the reasons that he was assassinated was definitely due to his awareness of what was going on in regards to UFOs, aliens, and who the hell knows what else. Anyway, yeah, so essentially this story that I heard was about a guy that approached JFK, and he asked JFK if he was aware of, well, he basically just asked him outright, Mr. President, what's going on with UFOs? What's going on? And JFK said to some effect that he wished that he could tell him, or let me see if I could quote what he said here, but in fact, I have this on my Twitter. If you just bear with me. Don't want to misquote a president of the United States, ex-presidente. But I found this quote to be so profound because it kind of echoed what Obama says. I would like to tell the people about the alien situation, but my hands are tied. And you know what? That is exactly what I would say. If I was in a position where I was going to have my life threatened or the life of my friends and family threatened for exposing certain information, which has happened to many people that have been connected to the UFO agenda. Bob Lazar, for one, Phil Snyder, pretty much anyone that has released classified information in regards to what has been going on with UFOs is always subject to danger. So anyway, let's get into the Obama interview here. I thought this was very fascinating.
So this is something I feel like if I was the president, and it's unlikely that that is ever going to happen.
You never know.
If I was the president...
It was unlikely that I was going to be president.
The moment I was inaugurated, my hand it'd still be hot from touching the Bible, and I would immediately race to wherever they have the files about Area 51 and the UFOs, and I go through everything to find out what happened.
Right.
Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president. Because that's the first thing that you would do.
You see, I like how he's joking about this, but you also know there's an air of truth in what he's saying. I mean, the reality is, yeah, absolutely. If you cannot keep a secret, then you cannot be in any, not even in any form of government. I mean, this is how this shit works. Unless, of course, you can keep secrets, you're going to have your life threatened, particularly when you're dealing with very sensitive information like that. And you sure as hell cannot be the president of the United States and keep and will show this stuff to the general public. Unless, of course, you want to end up like JFK.
The aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. They exercise strict control over us.
Now, there are a lot of people that are going to examine your facial expressions here, every twitch, everything, and say, and of course, so did you look? Did you see? Did you... explore.
I can't reveal anything.
Oh, really? Because President...
I love that moment. I'm going to play that again. That is, I mean, you can see that the previous responses, the previous gestures, there's an air of levity, but that response, that was unbelievably, okay, yeah, I can't reveal anything. I'm sorry. Yeah, I do know something, but look, there's no way I can reveal that stuff. That's just secret information. And that, I think, is very revealing.
Because President Clinton said...
Okay, so let's play that again.
Did you explore?
I can't reveal anything.
Oh, really?
I can't reveal anything. That was a moment of absolute sincerity there. And look, I know these presidents like fucking crazy, but I think without a doubt that's a moment of, yeah, bro, I'm sorry, I can't release anything. I'm not even going to pretend to hide and pretend to to give you the idea that I can tell you what's going on. I cannot reveal anything.
Can't reveal anything.
Oh, really? Because President Clinton said he did go right in and he did check and there was nothing.
Well, that's what we're instructed to say.
Look, he's still, I mean, he's not really, he's kind of saying it in a, well, this is a way of working the crowd, like, yeah, you guys are obviously going to feel this, but I sincerely believe him. I absolutely believe that he is not leading on. I mean, and look, it's not like he's the president of the United States anymore. I mean, obviously, you still have to keep certain things secretive regardless of whether or not you were currently the president, but I think the fact that he's no longer the president of the United States gives him a bit more leeway, but I feel like if he was the president of the United States, he could have gone down a different route and completely denied it, but now he's just playing the, look, I can't confirm or deny that route, which is a lot closer. That's the closest you're going to get to the truth from any president, that's for sure. Neither confirming or denying what's happened. And you have to read between the lines.
There was nothing.
Well, that's what we're instructed to say.
Yeah, I bet it is.
All right.
Of course it is. I mean, that's what happened to Bob Lazar. You're not allowed to tell anyone. I mean, in case you're not aware of the story of Bob Lazar, essentially, he brought his friends at some point to the Los Alamos base, the Area 51, some area around there, where he video recorded and showed his friends the UFOs that were flying from the base. They were basically set to lift off at a particular time every day, and recorded this footage. And he did this once, no problem. I think the second or third time he did that, he was caught, and he was interrogated severely. He feared for his life at that point in time, and basically thought he was going to die. They told him that, look, we weren't joking when we told you that you weren't able to tell anyone. I mean, you not only had to sign, obviously, contracts promising not to divulge this information and be subject to imprisonment and fines, but these people don't play games. I mean, these people will threaten his life. They threaten the life of his family. And, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that this is no joke. You are under no authorization to divulge this information when you have these kind of clearances, and when you do, you're putting your life at jeopardy.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Are
Anyway,
you sad
I thought that was very fascinating, very eye-opening to some extent. The fact that, I mean, I've always wondered, maybe these government officials, maybe these presidents don't actually know what's going on. Maybe, I mean, because the reality is there are parts of government. There's the black ops that are removed from government. The Department of Naval Intelligence. I mean, Bob Lazar spoke about how these were the people that were essentially giving him the paycheck to do the work that he was doing in Area 51. And these people don't technically exist in the government. They're not an organization, as far as I'm aware, that's connected directly to the government. You have these black op organizations that do all of these nefarious activities. And a lot of the times, the government that we call government, so they're under the President of the United States, are not actually aware of what's going on in their country. But having said that, I think it's more likely that they do. There's always the game of plausible deniability. You understand that there is something very sinister going on, but you don't want to know the full details. That way you are not subject to the same kind of repercussions from a legal sense. But yeah, I think the reality is that people like a bummer do know on some level what is going on in regards to the UFO agenda. Anyway, Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed that breakdown. Let me know if you want to hear more of this kind of stuff. I'm a huge ufology fan. I've been into this stuff since I was 9 years old. This is, outside of music, performing, this is my esoteric passion. I'm into all conspiracy theories, but at the heart of this, as far as I'm concerned, you are not into conspiracy theories if you are not into the realm of ufology. So I'm talking about Greys, Area 51, the Pleiadians, all of this crazy stuff that sounds like something out of a science fiction book. And it's all connected. It's all connected. Like, people think that these conspiracy theories are just, you have conspiracy theories that are more plausible and others that are completely just wacko, but you find that they're all kind of connected on some level. And the reality is that what goes on in this world is nothing like you would imagine. Nothing like you would imagine. And as you start uncovering one layer of what's going on, it opens up another area. You start realizing, if anything, that the world as you perceived it, as I keep saying, is nothing like the world it actually is. And I feel like the biggest, the grandest deception is not 9/11, is not the JFK assassination. Even though this stuff is somewhat peripherally connected, the grandest deception is the fact that the United States has been dealing with extraterrestrials for well over 100 years. And as crazy as it sounds, I think the amount of eyewitness reports is overwhelming. The amount of evidence pertaining to this, and this is the thing that I've realized seems to separate a lot of the skeptics. A lot of people don't buy into eyewitness reports. If one person is saying something, that's one thing. If hundreds of people are saying something, that's another thing entirely. If they're saying the same kind of thing, it's called cross-referencing. If you look at one story and then you see another story from completely unrelated people, you can start gaining a picture of what's going on. And it's more than just circumstantial evidence. After a while, to me, it's the best way to discern what has happened, as opposed to actually seeing it yourself at point blank. The reality is that video recordings are not definitive. People can alter this kind of stuff, and there's basically nothing that you can show someone, you can recreate, to make someone believe something definitively that happened. The best way, I think, is still to this day to listen to eyewitness reports and listen to enough of them to try to piece together enough information, and you start correlating, cross-referencing this information to get an idea of what's happened. And the amount of corroborating stories dealing with encounters of the first kind, dealing with the government covering up this information in regards to what's going on, it uncovers one of the most insane stories that you could possibly imagine. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Once again, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Let us know what you thought about this video. Let me know if you want to hear more about what's going on with UFO agenda. Peace out. Keep it real. Don't drive and text. Storm Area 51. Signing out, Chris Schul. Ow!
Life's purpose is to feel joy. Metaphysical, lyrical, saying enough for truth. The only one to make change is walking in your shoes. Be the example, don't complain about the news. Making music and serving the world with the loo. Now you can be the same, or you can be the change. Find strength from inside, break through the chains. No one to blame, nothing to prove. You create your reality, it's up to you. Be the change.